Hi, everyone. My name is Camilla Schwartzman, and I'm one of the co-captains for Macalester Solar District Cup team. We were tasked with designing a solar plus storage system for Miami University. All right, so just a quick introduction of our team. It's shown here separated to 4 different subgroups, and 11 of us met bi-weekly and weekly throughout the course of the year. All of us are undergraduates at Macalester, which is an interdisciplinary, it's a liberal arts institution. So many of us are double majors, and we believe that our interdisciplinary education helps us prepare us to tackle this problem from multiple perspectives. So just a quick overview of the use case. Miami University is located in Oxford, Ohio. Our district is the southeast region on campus, and its energy is provided by a substation located to the right of this image. And this boundary is like the boundary that we were able to work with. So Miami's goals, we were made to prioritize their goals from their having already reduced 30% of their greenhouse gas emissions from their 2008 baseline, and then looking out forward to carbon neutrality goals by 2040. Our plans prioritize highly visible systems, energy efficiency, and cost viability.
So as we were analyzing the possible sites on campus, there were several factors that we considered, mainly solar resources that were available, available land area and rooftop area, as well as electrical demand of the nearby buildings, the cost of infrastructure to be added, as well as the impact on the surrounding community and the campus. And so some of the systems that we considered but did not implement include photovoltaics on the 2 pond areas near Young Hall on campus. We considered implementing photovoltaics on these ponds, but ultimately eliminated this from the proposal because of the costly infrastructure, as well as interference with the fountains in one of the ponds. We also considered adding solar to the 2 green roofs on campus, on Western Dining Hall and on the geothermal plant itself, which both have recently developed green roofs. And ultimately, we thought this may be beneficial, but because of the limited available area of the green roofs versus the non-green parts of the roof, it wasn't going to be efficient. And so we removed this, we eliminated it from our proposal. The systems, next slide, please. The systems that we do propose include 3 rooftop systems and 2 ground mount systems on Hoyt Hall, Presser Hall, and Coal Service Building, as well as on the geothermal well field and on near the football field just south of Hoyt Hall. And so all of these systems together avoid about 2 million kilograms of CO2 per year and have a system size of about 2.6 megawatts in total. So just to cover the 3 rooftop systems, on Hoyt Hall, we have a 54 kilowatt system on the south facing roof face. Presser Hall, we have 2 arrays interconnected, but 69 kilowatt system on Presser Hall. On Coal Service Building, we have a large array of 458 kilowatts. Next slide, please. And for the ground mount systems on the geothermal well field, we have a ballasted system of 1.2 megawatts at an angle tilted towards the south. The football field, pardon the typo here, this is 822 kilowatts, not megawatts. But we have 3 different arrays there that total 822 kilowatts. Just to go over how we selected the equipment, all of the sourcing for the equipment, we aimed to source from local or nearby distributors to minimize carbon emissions from transportation and from the equipment. So for the PV modules, for the rooftops, all 3 rooftops and near the football field, we have a monofacial panel from LG. The geothermal system is a bifacial system, and so that requires a bifacial panel from Jinko. The racking, we use the same racking for all of the rooftops from Unirack. The football field has a single axis tracking mounting system that goes 60 degrees east, 60 degrees west. And the geothermal ground mount has a ballasted system. The inverter, we use the same inverter for all of 5 of our systems from Solar Edge.
So Miami U had 2 battery storage goals. The first one was a carbon reduction goal to phase out the use of 2 on-site 5.5 megawatt natural gas generators. And looking at the bottom left graph, we're seeing the generated power production from last year. And we're seeing that 0 to 190 kilowatts is what's mostly being used at any given time. There were a couple times on the far right where you can see both generators being used at full capacity, but our battery system is saying that we're providing a 190 kilowatt system for that to phase out the majority use of those generators. And then the other goal, the resiliency goal, was to provide 100% of the highest peak electric load of the geothermal plant to be serviced through a 2-hour grid outage. We can also see the highest peak electric load is around 700 kilowatts, but the majority of the load is around 200 to 400. So we could propose a smaller battery, but we wanted to keep a larger battery system to provide the 2-hour full peak electric load outage. So for this battery dispatch for the resiliency goal, we used a 9900CX Mitsubishi battery with a power output of about 1,000 kilowatts. Using the SAM simulations, we can see that the probability of surviving a grid outage, the autonomy of surviving a grid outage is about 84% probable. So it's not 100%, which is what our goal was, but it is likely to survive a 2-hour grid outage with this battery system. And the battery shed is located on the top right of the geothermal plant, which you can see in the bottom right. The second battery dispatch goal was the carbon reduction goal. So we're using a peak shaving model with the Enphase Encharge IQ10 batteries, a 76 battery system totaling about 766 kilowatt hours. This battery system is located right next to the football field system. You can see the battery shed on the bottom right image. And the left graph, so the top one showing system power generated from our solar system there, so the football fields that it's connected to. And then the bottom is showing the energy to and from the load and the electric to and from batteries. So we're seeing that the battery is being used in the mornings and then charging up during peak times of solar, which is around noon. So to validate our systems, to make sure they weren't overloading the grid, we used the system heat maps to check each node individually. The only issue that arose that you can see in this hosting capacity summary was the one at the grid node at the geothermal plant. We're saying that they need to upgrade this line to about 2,500 kVA to avoid the risk of any overvoltage events. And if this is upgraded, this would satisfy about 50% of hosting capacity for the geothermal solar system. And with this upgrade, we've lowered the risk of overvoltage events, and there's a lower possibility of other grid issues as well.
All right, so moving over into the financials, we're going to talk about customer savings first. So across all of our sites, we get a total of $97,000 in cash and tax credits that are saved over the 25-year period. And our PPAs across all of our sites range from about 1 cent to up to 3 cents per kilowatt hour, which compared to the utility rate of also about 3 cents, all of our sites are below that utility rate, and the football field essentially matches that. The graph on the right is showing our estimated customer savings per year for the football field in particular, which clearly when we compare it to our total customer savings is saving the vast majority of our savings in the whole project. Next slide, please. So then this chart, we can look at the estimated PPA price versus the utility with annual escalation. And this is for the most extreme case, the most similar to the utility, which is the football field. And we can see that they start out very similar, but because of different escalation rates, over time, the PPA price is still maintaining a solid distance between the utility price. Also, our IRR is, we maintain a 6.4% IRR across all of our sites.
In this section, we're talking a little bit more about the costs of the system. We see here we have 2 different options. One where we have 2 battery systems in place for the hardware with batteries. In this, we have a larger battery in the geothermal well field and then a smaller battery in the football field. For this, we don't necessarily recommend it because we can see total costs adding up to $3.6 million, which we think is a bit high. What we recommend, though, is you can see in geothermal, we'll take out that battery, which drops our total costs for hardware to $2.9 million. We estimate our construction costs to be $367,000, which we estimate a loan, which will take about 25 years to pay off for the estimation. We go to the next part, we see purchasing prices and our MPV values, as well as our cash on cash IRR rate. So we see that all of our sites are profitable. We're looking at a range of purchasing price for each site from around $25,000 to around $744,000 for the geothermal, and Hoyt, which is our smallest site, a total purchasing price of $1.3 million with a total site IRR of 6.4%.
Now let's move on to the development plan. Our construction will be regulated by several authorities having jurisdiction, including the city and the state. And all of our PV system will not exceed the height limits and also will adhere to other regulations from the relevant codes. And our construction can help the university and the community of Oxford to reach their goal for the net carbon neutrality. And for the environmental impacts, we anticipate no tree will have to be cut down for our construction. And our plan will not disturb any new land and will not affect the flood management of the university. Next slide, please. For the construction timeline, we propose a 13-month plan. This will start with the permitting and approvals and end with the interconnection and inspections. Actually, we over budget our time for the permitting and approvals because the university falls within one of the historic districts regulated by the City Historic and Architectural Preservation Committee. So we anticipate the city may need more time to review the plan, and also the university may need more time to get approval. And we also overestimate our time for the acquisition of materials because right now we are facing a global supply chain delay for the PV materials. Next slide, please. And the companies that we chose for the equipment show their concerns for the human rights issues. For example, Jinko disclosed their welfare for their employees and also their regulation about human rights issue within the firms in their supply chain. And for the workforce, we propose the university hire more local workers in their construction. This can offer some short-term jobs for the local workers who are underemployed or even unemployed. And throughout this process, the workers can build the relevant skills that can be used in their similar projects in the future. And this plan also provides some education opportunities. For example, the faculties can incorporate the solar panels into their courses. Students can do the relevant projects. And we also suggest the university provide some internship position for students in the relevant fields. Other than that, we propose the university develop the agrivoltaic on the football sites because we actually plan to set our solar panels about 5 feet above the ground on the football field. So there will be enough space for the university to plant some crops and even feed some farm animals. This can offer some educational opportunities for faculty and students on campus, and the university can also work with the local government to introduce agrivoltaics to the local farmers, and this can help the farmers to offset part of their energy bill. In terms of the food justice in the agrivoltaic, the university can donate part of the products to the local food pantry and sell the rest of the products in a non-profitable way in the local community. Because the university right now occupies the ancestral territory of the present-day Miami tribe in other states, including the Oklahoma, and also the university is using the name of the tribe, we suggest that the university donate the surplus money from the pivot system to the Miami Center on the campus. So this center is a Miami Tribe of Oklahoma initiative, and they work on the education, research, and outreach to promote the language and culture for the tribe. Finally, we also want to consider the needs and concerns from all of the stakeholders. So we propose the Community Development Committee. This will be composed of the representative of all of the stakeholders, and their permission about the plan will be required before the implementation of the construction plan.
Thank you very much for listening to our pitch, and we'll now take questions.